In Henan province, there's a small town known as Shenhou. Today the town looks a little bit shabby. The streets keep the same feature as they used to have in the late imperial ages. The roads have been out of repair for a long time. Nonetheless, this town is the site for the famous Chinese ceramics of Junware, and the family-level workshop of Junware are still in operation in the simplest traditional way. In the northern Song dynasty, because the town was near the capital, the Junware was made as tribute to the imperial court. In other words, the Junware kiln was the official kiln. The unqualified products were crashed and buried so that the common people were not to use Junware in their daily life. When the Song dynasty declined, Junware style began to be learned by potters in other areas. Common people now began to use them. Junware is best known for its beautiful glazes. Wheel throwing had been the basic technique for making Junware. Today, press molding and casting are also accepted. Unlike most Western ceramic studios, where potters use ready-made clays, in the town of Shenhou, potters had to make their clay by themselves. Let's see how potters in Shenhou work. This potter is quite skillful, but his method of working is quite influenced by other places. For example, his way of wedging is very much like the potters of Jingdezhen, where he had studied for half a year. When he brought the clay up to make the mushroom flat top, he says that this is the northern style of throwing. He says that in Shen-Ho, the unfired clay pieces need to be trimmed slightly. It is not like that in Jingdezhen, where the clay is too soft to take an accurate shape and 70% of the job relies on trimming. But in Shen-Ho, trimming only takes about 30% of the job. He belongs to a new generation of potters. Generally, his work is quite modern.
那是一块胶板呢，在一块胶板上弄的哈。我看什么？
The wedging of clay is not always by hands. Feet are sometimes helpful. Now, let's look at press molding of a big vase, which is made from 4 separate sections.
一直中午吃，这两天
Junware is fired twice. This is the first, or bisque firing.
“这个素烧就不用那个下坡了，是吧？”
After the first firing, some repair and smoothing is necessary. Glazes used in Jun kilns are very famous. According to some sources, Junware glazes come from a kind of green glaze in the Tang Dynasty, but some copper glaze materials are added. When it is finally fired at a temperature of about 1300 degrees centigrade, the metal oxides transform into different beautiful colors. Glazed pieces are put into the boxes or saggers for the second firing. The firing begins at midnight and lasts for more than 24 hours. The firing is finished, and the exciting unloading begins. All the workers stop their work to come and watch and make a comment on every piece of work. The person who is examining the vase is the owner of the kiln and an authority on Junware. When asked if that piece is okay or not, he says that it has a flaw. This is good. Look at the kiln effect. The color is a peacock color, just like that in the body of a peacock.
这是不是叫做兔房的什么东西的？重复房。但这个也算流了吧？
This is good, but there is a little flaw. Needs to be repaired a little, but this is a very good piece. Look at this, a failure. He is very excited about this one, even though he thought there was a little defect somewhere, but the color is very beautiful. The kiln firing effect is uncontrollable. If there are only a couple of pieces in one kiln which have perfect color under the kiln effects, the owner would be satisfied. Good Junware is very expensive. There is an old saying that likens Junware to gold. This bowl is very beautiful, no defect at all. The June kiln produced many unqualified pieces, mostly because the thickness of glaze and the temperature are... If the glaze is too thick, it is easy for them to drip and damage the bottom. If it is too thin, they do not change into the expected color. The temperature of the firing also matters a great deal. Each time, only a very small percentage of the fired pieces are considered a success. Many of them are smashed and buried, like in the Song Dynasty. All these vases are unsuccessful. These vases are quite beautiful in color, but with some defects. The owner will eventually get rid of them. And this one, the upper part is perfect, but it dripped a lot and the bottom is damaged. Very beautiful. He said that the inner pain of the potter is very difficult to express when he sees a piece like this. Look at how beautiful this is. But something has gone wrong with this side.
是，对，
You spend so much time and energy, from the making of the clay to the making of the form. You have to glaze them and fire them twice, and finally what you see is this. All your labor goes to nothing. He said, I've fired 17 loads of kilns without having produced one successful piece. Look at that on the wall. Before firing, the glaze was applied evenly, but during the firing, the glaze ran. That one broke in the firing, and the glaze ran. That one, do you see there is a slice of glaze missing? It will stay there on the wall. The two plum vases had defects on the shoulders.
就报废了。
He says, the bumps came out during the firing. Is that because the clay is not well wedged?
那是泥的事儿吧
The？ clay was fine. The problems come out in the firing. All the pieces here have problems like this. And the color is also problematic. It is very unhelpful. I have no way out but to continue firing. This man is the owner of the kiln and master Junware potter. He makes both giant vases and small pieces, as well as replicas of ancient work.
这开了弄的都说的，他就拿那个烧庄粮食没了，他大。
不是，
He is old, but still makes giant vases like this. He hires several workers to help him.
当然了，那个小片，
它这个外面这个圈是咋的？
这不是不用下片，不用这个圈。
These are some examples of his best work. In his opinion, these pieces should be stored by state museums. They are not for sale because they are priceless. This is a double